morning, everybody. Good afternoon, I guess it is. Thank you so much for coming to the annual meeting. We appreciate you. So, I'm Ben Blum. I'm the chairman of the Forest Lake Chamber of Commerce. This is Ted Blank over here. We're going to be going through a little things today. Let's see. For the state of the chamber, right now we're at 165 members, which is pretty good. We have, looks like about 40%, 30% here right now, which is pretty good. The goals that we have right now, we're in transition. And it's a good transition. We're over the hump. We hired our new executive director. We have a solid start for membership. And our goals are to bring value back to the chamber. For 2015 especially, we want to bring that value back. We want to extend our reach, make sure that we're supporting our local communities, all of them. And the last thing we want to do is give our members support. So our goals, we have opted to send out a survey, and we have them here. I don't know if anybody has seen them yet, but you will. And those surveys, they're going to give us feedback and assist us in driving those goals. So moving forward, we want to make sure that we're giving back to our members the things that we want. You know, the support that we have, the network that we have, the events that we want to have. Those are all things that we want to do. So from all of us at the Chamber, we definitely want to thank you for coming. Thank you for your support and your patience as we've been changing the focus of our Chamber. So with that, I'm going to give it to Ted. Ted's going to take over. Ted's our new executive director of the Forest Lake Chamber.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. Okay. I've loud and clear. All right. I've had a chance to meet many of you, but for those of you who I haven't, my name is Ted Blank, and as Ben said, I'm the new executive director of the Forest Lake Area Chamber of Commerce. I started about a month ago. I live in St. Paul, but I'm very excited to be here in your community, so I appreciate you inviting me to join you. I am really excited to work with the Chamber for a lot of reasons. My background is in marketing and healthcare marketing. I came from a neighborhood organization in St. Paul where we did both neighborhood improvement initiatives and we ran our own mini Chamber of Commerce. So I'm really excited to be here in Forest Lake. As Ben mentioned, we're going to be conducting a membership survey in the month of November. And it looks like this. And we'll give you the opportunity to pick one up as you leave today. And for those who aren't able to join us today, we'll be mailing them out. That membership survey is going to help us plan for 2015. It's going to help us plan events. It's going to help us plan our focus. So we really do encourage you to spend some time, take the survey, and send it back to us so that we can plan effectively for the year. Also, just wanted to put a date on your calendar. I hope you'll join us on Tuesday, December 9th for our holiday party, which I've been told is quite a lot of fun. And it'll be held at the Lodge of Forest Hills. And so in addition to our usual fun, we'll also be presenting the results of the membership survey and sharing our plan and our calendar for 2015. So we hope you'll save the date for that and join us for that. So with that, enjoy your lunch. We'll be back after lunch for our awards presentation and our panel discussion. Thanks. All right, thank you, everybody. But feel free to finish your lunches as we go through the program here today. But I wanted to start out by acknowledging and thanking the board members of the Forest Lake Chamber of Commerce who really this year have stepped up and done a lot more than I would say is normally expected of board members. So I'd ask the board members who are here to please stand. Let's see, I saw Jules Benson from Lakes Area Youth Service Bureau, and Kelly Appel from Lake Area Bank, and Tom Campbell from First Resource Bank, and is that Bob Colross from Polaris Industries, and Lisa Segner from, I'm getting there, Timeless Elements Med Spa, and I see Tammy Kasparowicz from OSI Physical Therapy, and Cindy Rogers from Whitaker Buick GMC, and Larry Martini from the Forest Lake Area Schools, and Ben Blum from Running Aces. So thank you all to the board of directors. We really appreciate what you do for the chamber. I'd also like to introduce some folks who have joined the chamber since our golf tournament in September. I'm going to have them stand up and they can quickly introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about who they are and what they do. So we'll start with Dr. Nicholas Healy from Otto Meyer Clinic in the back.
My name is Dr. Nicholas Healy. I'm a chiropractor at Otto Meyer Clinic. You guys don't know Otto Meyer Clinic is completely integrated with physical therapy, with dental surgeon, nurse practitioner, chiropractic, and massage. So thanks for allowing me here. Appreciate it.
And then we have Isaac Filbert and Carol Keene from Thrifty White Pharmacy.
I'm Carol Keene. I'm the pharmacy manager at Thrifty White in Forest Lake. Stop in and see us.
And I'm Isaac Filibert. I met a few of you before. I'm a health and wellness advisor that works closely with the pharmacy. You guys probably met Carol. She stabbed a few in the arms to get your flu shot. If you haven't done it yet, go swing by and visit her.
Carol gives a mean flu shot. I can attest to that from personal experience. Then we have Ralph Hain from the Lakers Junior Hockey.
Yes, I'm with the new junior hockey team in town over at the Forest Lake Sports Center. Hope you all get a chance to come over and visit us. Our games are on the website, so you can find out when they are. LakersHockey.com. Thank you.
Thanks, Ralph. And then finally from Total Auto Care, we have Matt Faschingbauer.
Everybody? Yeah, I'm Matt Faschingbauer for Auto Care with the old Sinclair station a couple blocks up, the yellow and black building now. We have the tools, technology, and the technicians for the dealerships. We bring them into a smaller aftermarket house to give you the top quality at a better price. So it's awesome. Thanks.
Thanks, and welcome to the Forest Lake Area Chamber of Commerce. Each year, the Chamber presents awards that recognize individuals and a business who have made outstanding contributions to our community and to the Chamber. And so Ben and I are pleased to present those. So our first award for 2014 is for the Business of the Year. This award recognizes a business with a significant ongoing commitment to both the community and to the Chamber. This year's recipient is an active member of our business community. They give back to the community in countless ways, and we refer to them as the go-to place. So please join us in congratulating Whitaker Buick GMC 2014 Business of the Year. Thanks, Steve and Cindy. The Chamber Volunteer of the Year Award recognizes an outstanding Chamber of Commerce volunteer whose dedication and passion support the work of the Chamber. And this year's recipient helps out all the time, often behind the scenes, at almost every single Chamber event. And you all had a chance to meet her as you came into this event. So please join me in congratulating this year's Chamber Volunteer of the Year, Diane Deach from Central Bank.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Okay, so now we can all say speech, right? The Community Volunteer of the Year Award recognizes a member of our community who freely gives of their time and energy to make our community a great place to live. This year's recipient is generous with her time and gives 110% of her energy back to the community. Please join me in congratulating Leanne White from Olson Sewer and Excavating. Thank you very much. Okay, Well, thank you very much. I'd now like to invite our panel to take their seats to begin our discussion on social media. And it's my pleasure to introduce today's moderator, Alan Bakke from the Sherman Insurance Agency.
Thank you. Thank you, Ted. What we're going to do, I'll introduce our panelists in a minute, but we've prepared 11 questions that we'd like to ask them about using social media in your business, to promote your business, to promote events and ideas to use in your business. We have more questions than we can possibly have time to address, but I've asked the three of them if they would be kind enough to write brief answers to the questions we don't get to, and we will email them to all the members, whether you're here or not. I think that might be a good idea. Introducing our members, Aaron Bedison from Running Aces. Aaron is the Director of Marketing at Running Aces. TJ McLeod, Chief Marketing Officer of OSI Physical Therapy. And Dan Undum, Assistant to the City Administrator, City of Forest Lake. Welcome to all three of you. Let's give them a little hand. As soon as I find the right page, here we go. What I'd like you to do first is introduce yourselves and tell us a little about how your organization uses social media. Let's start with Aaron.
I'm Aaron from Running Aces. I think we'll be a little bit different than some of the other places being, an entertainment destination, but there's a lot of different social media tools, and we try and use a handful that we embrace: Facebook, Twitter, as the main ones, but the other ones being a location is Yelp and TripAdvisor. And I think anybody that has a business that people are coming to that are looking, I think Yelp and TripAdvisor can be one of the important ones. And the biggest thing is just trying to figure out what your goal is with social media. Is it to interact with your current customers or to try and obtain new ones? And everything Facebook has changed. I think everybody used to jump on Facebook and say, yep, we got to advertise here. But the matrices that Facebook has created, I mean, if you guys are on there, you can see it's ads. Ads are everywhere. And if you buy ads, it can be useful. But just posting content doesn't really cut it anymore. So you got to be a little bit more strategic with it. And I think that's one of the toughest parts if you're basing Facebook on, we're just going to push content and people will see it, because they really won't anymore unless you're paying for it. So, but I think using an array of different things and finding out who your target is and what your goals are, if it's to attract new members or current ones. So.
I got a bit of a cold. I'll just get to speak. Yeah. My name is TJ McLeod. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for OSI Physical Therapy. I've been a digital marketing consultant for nearly 9 years now, and I've worked with quite a wide variety of businesses, small and large. And really for me, the two things I try to really put in place are, I think one of the things he said to reiterate and underscore the importance of having an objective, but for me it's first and foremost a strategy, but secondly the emphasis for me on monetizing it. I mean, quite simply for me, I'm uninterested in idle chit-chat on Facebook or Twitter or anything. For me, it always circles back to the strategic structure I built, how I intend to use social media. And for me, the $64,000 question has always been, how do I use social media to drive traffic to my front door? Do I have the internal resources to do that? What tools do I need? Do I need to outsource it? The management of that process. But for me, it's really been a matter of monetizing. There's some aspects too of what he's talking about that you do, or you pay high attention to, reputation management, using something like Yelp or TripAdvisor. It's important. I think there's quite a few things to keep in mind, but it can be a lot to juggle. And so for clients, I've always kind of brought it back to a spoke wheel model of where you're trying to drive them, what the objective is, what the purpose of utilizing these tools is, what you're trying to do with this as a business. And I think having an objective I couldn't have said it better. You know, having an objective, what's your objective, and then how I utilize these tools to help me get there. That's pretty much the starting point for us at OSI as well.
Dan?
I'm Dan Undum. I'm with the City of Forest Lake. I think the objective in social media management for government's a little bit different than private sector. We don't obviously sell anything. We don't have customers that come to us looking to buy anything. I kind of take the approach that we use it more as a communications tool, just to alert the community members to residents of activities that are going on in Forest Lake. Use it to promote civic engagement, to get the messages out to different audiences. I think traditionally, maybe newspapers have been kind of that model where news releases were sent out, press releases were sent out. Now we're kind of doing that internally, where we kind of take an upcoming event in Forest Lake, something that's going before council that might want some feedback from the citizens on. We use that to promote that on social media. We're currently primarily focused just simply on Facebook. It's more along the lines of we don't have time to start branching out into the different aspects or facets of social media. We do a little bit on Twitter, but primarily around Facebook. But again, we're kind of drawing it back just simply as a communication / outreach tool for the community to keep the community engaged with what's going on in the city of Forest Lake.
What are some objectives or goals that you've found social media to be particularly helpful in achieving? Aaron.
So I touched a little bit on it, but Twitter has been great for us on our poker side of our business. Those guys like to engage. It's a specific demographic of people. They want to be able to talk and have interaction with each other. So for us on that part of our business, Twitter is great. The problem is to be good on Twitter, you have to have somebody tweeting and you have to have somebody manage it. And that's something that our poker director, giving him that responsibility and saying, hey, this is yours, you run with it, it's yours to manage and control. And I think the key to doing a lot of it is being able to delegate people who can be, one, trustworthy, and two, interactive. On the Facebook side, it's been good for just engaging our customers, letting them know a little bit, like Dan said, of what's going on. But a tough part that we found is our content is getting lost a little bit without doing all the extra things that we need to do and not spending the time on it. So our biggest focus has been on Yelp and TripAdvisor, because for us, with our restaurant, horse racing, and gaming, people are constantly leaving comments. And if there is a negative thing, it's addressing it instantly and right away. And I think that's the key factor, is everybody wants immediate gratification and being able to address that. And on Facebook, people with their new reviews, addressing those. And I think just addressing concerns if you have a business, getting people to engage on there and getting people, ask them for, if you are given a good product, ask your guests, your clients, your whoever to help and engage on some of that end. Have them give reviews on your product. Have them give them some incentives to do so, and that has worked for us. And monetizing it is the number one thing. And when we've tried coupons and tried different things, we definitely put tracking codes on it to see if it's worked. And we have spent money on advertising on Facebook, and we've seen the return come in, and it has proven to work. You just have to know what your budget is and figure out a way to track it.
DJ?
Well, it depends what the initiative is. I think that there can be event-based initiatives. There's been a wide variety of clients I've worked with over the years where I have filled a beer tasting dinner in Orlando, Florida, and done that here solely via Twitter, right? Where it's geo-targeted outreach, understanding the tools that I have to be able to target and find the right people. That's a big part of it. Without the tracking, I'm a data-driven guy, period. I'm a results-driven guy. You're, as far as I'm concerned with digital, your ego gets checked at the door. I'm interested in finding the best path to what I'm trying to do, and data is absolutely that. So as far as tracking goes, again, I couldn't agree more. I'm a big fan of helping businesses find ways to build a trackable system that helps you continue to test and improve what you're doing and understand the results. And I think over the years with digital, there's going to be things that I found. Every marketer is going to have campaigns and initiatives, excuse me, that aren't going to work. You're always going to have things that fail or don't work the way you want them to. I think the difference is, or at least the key distinction I would make is a good digital practitioner pays attention to what's working and what's not. And for a guy like me, where I'm looking at running a lot of multivariate and A/B split testing and trying to constantly pay attention, whether it's a geo-targeted Facebook ad campaign, and I'm going, okay, this one's not doing well, what's wrong? This one is, turn the faucet off on this, let's replicate this, and constantly trying to improve what you're doing. The only way you can do that is by tracking. So, and as Tammy knows at OSI, it is absolutely my focus when I bring marketing data and reporting to the table is to say, look, if you're a small business, doesn't matter whether you're a florist or whether you're a coffee shop owner or whether you're Whitaker, in the end, at the end of every month, I need to know how much am I spending and what am I getting from that. And so that the infrastructures that I focus on putting in place are trackable systems that give me that data and results. So I would say that there are a variety of tools that do that, but sometimes that requires a little more sophistication on the IT side of things.
I think as a base, one of the objectives that we try to do, or I try to do with what the city's Facebook page does, is this kind of a way to build an audience that can get engaged if need be. Again, I can't really go back and say I'm going to throw all this extra money into an advertising campaign because, again, it's government. We don't, again, advertise for customers, but we're just trying to build a base where, I have the opportunity to engage people on one-on-one, or citizens can come in and feel like they have an opportunity to, ask a question. Last night, we put a post up about a park. Somebody wanted to know where the park was. It was an opportunity for me to kind of show a new interactive map we built, point the resident in the right direction, give them the information that they needed. So a lot of our posts, when we kind of look at the overall scheme, some of our posts may not go anywhere, but we maintain that base of followers. So if there is an issue that engages the city, we have that base there that we can actually go back to and interact with and deal with. So that's one of the big objectives that we kind of focus on is building a base and keeping them there. If we need to engage them, there's an opportunity for them to engage with the city of Forest Lake.
The next question is, are there any goals or objectives that you find do not work on social media? Aaron?
Social media doesn't necessarily drive new business unless you're doing some online advertising. If you're talking just Facebook and Twitter and some of those other things, it's really tough to drive new business. At least it was for us. It's just a way to engage in your current customers. Now, if you expand out, on that, and GJ probably has some, you can do online ads and do different things on the online and more digital side. But for social media wise, we found it tough to attract new members. It's just simply a way for us to engage with our current customers. The other thing, I guess, in looking at it is just going a little off topic, but your website, if you're on social media, you should have a good website. And if that's how you're trying to drive them, or if that's how you're giving the information, if you don't have a good website and you're using Facebook as your website, that's fine. Just make sure your content is accurate and up to date. If you are using social media and you have a website and that's where you want people, the other thing is make sure it's I guess, a responsive website. Or people have asked, do you need an app? Does your company need an app? Once again, it goes with what your objectives are. We found we don't need an app because it's just our current customers that would use it. What you need is a website that anybody can access, whether it's from their phone, their tablet, their computer, and have all the information they need. I'm sure a lot of you have gone to a website on your mobile phone or tablet, and it's so tough to navigate because it's set up just for desktop use. So it's just making sure that you have the right information that's easy to get, and that people aren't frustrated and they just ignore you. They go away because it's too difficult, because I think we all know they don't have any time. It's pretty quick. You got to get them right away and you got to hold them.
I would probably respectfully disagree. I think that what I've been challenged over the years is driving new business. And I think, look, there are 1.6 billion searches a day on Twitter every single day. That tells me, if anything, Google is not the only place people are looking for information. I've spent many, many years really as a primary focus being an SEO practitioner, search engine optimization. That's a big part of what my focus has been. And ultimately that has led me to how do I, look, Your highest quality lead is a person trying to find you. Your highest quality lead is the person trying to find you. Where do you show up when someone searches for terms and phrases relevant to your key industry? Whether it's Twitter or whether it be Google. So how do you, in 2014, mind you, how people get and share and use information that's online? I do believe in building the brand advocacy, using your current fan base, how you supplement that with email marketing, which I believe is still largely underused, very tactical, but necessary, and how that supports your social. What you're doing on social, how you use your time and target, I absolutely agree in that you need to enlist your brand advocates and to have that be a starting point, but I wholeheartedly believe in targeting and understanding the audience. But it doesn't fit for every business. It doesn't fit for everybody, and I will say that. There's somebody that reached out recently, and I said, you do not belong on Facebook. That is not where your time is going to be well spent. You are a B2B LinkedIn company. This is where your focus needs to be, and you need to identify the gatekeepers by job titles. How do you understand that? I mean, it depends. It varies depending on your niche and your business. But again, my responsibility has always been how do I use social to drive new business? I believe it starts with your current fan base and building your brand advocacy. But I'm a believer in advanced targeting and making sure in 2014 that SEO is at the core of your campaigns.
I think one thing that I found that social media kind of lacks a little bit for government use is if you wanted to go out and completely reach out to the community to promote something, there's always a challenge in terms of getting people engaged on it. Even though we do use it for engagement, there is when I was working in St. Paul and doing the social media management for the City of St. Paul's Park and Rec Department, we had done some survey. We had asked the citizens for a response on a survey. So I promoted that survey for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, pretty heavily on their Facebook feed saying, fill out this survey, and I wasn't getting a lot of responses. So I went back to our email marketing. We had a direct email list that we use. I sent out the same messages, almost exact same wording, and overnight saw about a 10 times where people came back in on the email listserv versus the Facebook feeds. So, I mean, I think there was some effect. We did get some outreach, but it's not the only tool. We can't be completely reliant upon social media and government to communicate the messages because we're going to miss a lot of the market. We still need to go to the paper. We still need to go to other avenues to get that message out because I think social media does reach a limited audience, and we just can't rely too heavily on that when we're trying to engage an entire community worth of people. Some people, they only will read something on paper. Some people want to see a brochure. Some people want to see it digitally. So we need to adjust our message and craft our message so it reaches the entire community.
The next question, I'm going to skip one and go to the number 5. What kind of content is getting the most traction for you on social media? Examples, text, photos, videos, polls, etc. Aaron?
For us, videos on the horse racing side, videos have done well for us, and that's been a good way for us to actually get some new people because people are sharing them. They go, wow, look at that. That was kind of cool. A video is a pretty easy thing to share, and that's gotten us a lot of traction. On the text messaging, that works good, once again, for our existing base, and we do get some interaction. But the videos, I think that's where a lot of people have gone. Videos and photos. I mean, you can see a picture and it says 1,000 words. If you can get a quick video that gets to the point you're trying to get or show exactly what you have, that's worked really well for us as well.
So for us, it's really been about content and understanding who's trying to find us and what they're looking for, right? And again, this kind of circles back to SEO for me. It's deep keyword research to understand terms and phrases people use to try to find us. And that's the type of content that I encourage, for example, OSI to create. What do I need to bring to my first appointment? How do I eat right in training for a 5K the week leading up to me? finding and understanding the types of questions people have, right? And for Google, what's highly important is Matt Cutts, a guy, he's one of the primary spokesmen for Google's SEO. He recently said last fall, hey, this is an important thing for you to understand as a business. If you want to be found, start answering questions, because that's how people use Google search. And that's a big part of our content strategy at the moment, is understanding how people are trying to find us and to start to provide some of that content and how we share that, right? So that will get filtered through the social for OSI. With LinkedIn, there may be some other things happening, but using images is still, look, Facebook's former EdgeRank algorithm, which is just their newsfeed algorithm and how it determines what shows up in the feed, it's based largely on a lot of things, but I think visual is key. I think video and images, I think that goes without saying. And when I think, literally look, I mean, what is it? 500 million people log into Facebook via mobile device every day. Right, so when my wife runs into Super America and I start scrolling through my feed, I've got a nanosecond at best to get their attention. So I think using a video or photo for me is critical and getting them to stop. But also, what works in tandem with that is using trackable links to go, okay, here's the link, here's a trackable landing page, so I can say 313 people clicked on it, 17 people filled out the lead form, 4 of them became paying customers, and I can report to the CEO at OSI, we had 209 new patients as a result of our efforts last month. And that's, I think, the value I try to provide. I think, for working for the city, it's a very, very different approach, entirely different ball of wax, and I think his strategy is entirely different and seemingly pretty good from what I'm hearing. But that's my approach in a nutshell. I think the visual is critical, but again, it always goes back to the tracking.
I think the content that gets us the most traction, it's always hard for us to say what will go. I've had some posts I thought were going to go very far and they don't go anywhere. There's actually only so many ways you can say, here's an event over here or here's an event over here. I try to always post with a picture because it seems like those get better traction for us. But occasionally we get a post that does go. One of the bigger ones we had over the summer was when that bear wandered into town. That went like wildfire. It went crazy. It was like by far our most popular post over the summer, and it was just a quick, and I tried tying that post in to the Nights Before Arts in the Parks event to try to get people aware, because I knew that one had the potential. When I saw a bear in town, I'm like, it felt like it could go. So then I tied it in, with something where it had it was in town for Arts in the Park. So I tied it in so people were aware that there was like city-sponsored events. And then I was going to run it out throughout the entire summer. The bear was spotted here, bear was spotted there, but I kind of felt against that when I kind of realized I didn't want to cause any more panic than I needed to. So, in aspects like that, I kind of got to watch around. I'm kind of always watching to see what's going on in town to see if I can't get something that potentially could go viral, and then trying to tie that back into an event that's going on in the city of Forest Lake to kind of take the boring, mundane stuff that government produces and make it a little bit more flashy for public consumption or social media consumption. So that's kind of the approach that we take.
The next question, how much time per day do you spend on your organization's social media presence? Do you do it internal, or outsource the work? Starting with Aaron.
So for us, for the most part, we do keep it internal. One of the struggles we have is I think you can plan ahead, and you should plan ahead. We're such a kind of a quick-paced, reactive kind of environment that we have. So to plan ahead in the long run, for us to have an external company do it, we found it tough. We have an agency that we work with out of Vegas, and they can produce a good amount of stuff in our core things. But we also need to take care of it internally because we need to react quickly to our guests if they've got a comment on there, if they've got a question. If we make a post, we've got Wine Fest coming on Saturday. If somebody posts, a question, how many wines, our agency's not going to know that. We know that because it keeps changing. So for us, it was important to keep it internal for the most part. And time-wise, we have 3 people working on it. It's myself, I've got a coordinator, and then I've got our guy who handles Twitter. So, it's an hour a week or an hour a day. I mean, it just depends on the time of week we have. There's a software and that a lot of companies have used, Hootsuite, and there's many others out there that if you spend time the beginning of the week or dedicate yourself and say, all right, I'm going to sit down on Monday, I'm going to put together the content we need to push out this week. There's programs out there like Hootsuite that can do that, and it'll push your content for you all week on the set times you want. And that's we found kind of an easy way to manage so you're not forgetting some of the core things. And then you can go back in and you can add and you can get the other important things you have to get out there.
For OSI, it's interesting. I think it varies from business to business. Our strategy with OSI has been really to kind of employ an army of people, right? So one of the things I did is, I'm essentially responsible for a strategic at the high level, but in many ways the execution on the ground every day. And one of the things I found to be the most advantageous strategies for us to put in place is to train the staff. To get a lot of the staff trained and involved and active, right? I can understand, I can see right away, 100, 150 employees. I can identify a dozen or so right away who are fairly passionate. It's fairly intuitive for them, or maybe the age, or maybe social just pairs well with them. So we initially brought all those folks in right away and did some training to say, look, I'd like to make you an admin. Here's the process. Here's an agreement I'd like you to sign in terms of agreeing to what's acceptable, right? There's a code of conduct, if you will. But then getting the staff to participate. I think, for me, it's over the years I've gone head to head with many HR folks where I'm like, sorry, the days of firewalls are over. This changed the game. For me, it would be a part of their job description that they would have to engage my brand. I think this goes back to when he said, he saw the bear. How one of the most effective ways to do it is to personalize the company. Our blog posts, there's a picture of the author next to every single blog. You click on the name, it's a profile of them, personalizing the company, who are we, and to see them posting on Facebook, to see them posting on Twitter, to see them putting up blog posts. So for us, it has really been training and getting a lot of people in our company actively involved. And Facebook, nicely, some of the features that have been enabled recently is, you can see by name, by admin, who posted what, when. Scheduling is fairly simple, intuitive, but the training is ongoing as well for us.
Okay. I do almost all of the social media management for the city. It's only a small part of what I do a lot of other things for the city as well. So this is kind of just one thing that I try to fit in throughout my day. I post using an editorial calendar where I take a look at the month, kind of look at where all the events that I know are going to happen inside Forest Lake, put those in one day, and then kind of fill in as I can. I try to post at least one post a day. So I'm trying to make this where it's manageable with the rest of my workload. So I'm trying to average about 15, 20 minutes a day on it. Some days I'm going to spend a lot more if I can't find content. Some days less if I can get some posts built up. If I have, a Friday afternoon where I have no meeting scheduled, I can usually get the following 2 week social media calendar pretty much dialed in, and then it's just kind of a maintenance thing. But for me, it's going to depend on what kind of content's coming in. If we're in a busy period, summertime for the city is a lot easier for me to find content because there's a lot more activities going on. Wintertime's a little bit slower, but there's still stuff always kind of going on. And I do try to have people, if I let people know if there's an event, if they get it to me, it's easier for if they bring it to me, because then it's just a matter of me plugging it into the social media calendar. So it can vary, but I'd say on average about 10 to 15 minutes a day is what I'm spending on the social media management.
We're out of time. We've got a few more questions, and I've asked them, as I mentioned earlier, to write up some short answers to them and send them to Ted so that Ted can send them out in an email to all of our members. I think this is really great information. Hopefully you can use it or give you an idea to start at least. Some of our businesses are using it now to advertise. I know Steve Whitaker does. I've seen his, and Doug and Barb Gores do, and others. But let's give the three panelists a big round of applause.
Don't go too far, Alan. We have a token of appreciation for you, an official Forest Lake area chamber coffee mug.
Old starter fluid for the morning impaired.
And we also have a coffee mug for each of our panelists. So thank you very much. Let's give them all a round of applause, please. Thank you all for joining us. I did want to say thank you to Vanelli's and Nick Vanelli, who I don't see, but thank him for a great meal. And we look forward to seeing everybody on December 9th for our holiday party. And as I mentioned, we have our member surveys that will be by the exit for you to pick up. When you pick them up, if you would just write down the name of the company you're picking it up for, that would be great, and then we won't send you another one in the mail. So thank you all very much for coming, and enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Thank you.